Sup, y'all? It's Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Welcome to yet another very special episode of Mattitude, and where we usually discuss the news of the week, but not today because we got 39 songs that we need to go through, and this is the ESC United jury panel, whatever you want to call us. And we had one show yesterday where we discussed the first 10 songs, and we got another 10 of them lined up for you. And of course, I don't have to do it alone. We've got my team here today joining us. It is, you've seen this young gentleman before. It's Sean. How you doing, my friend, my partner in crime?
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
You good? Yeah, can't do ESC United without him. Everything would be falling apart if it wasn't for my BFF. And of course, right underneath me, well, not literally, figuratively here, it is Gabe. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Unfortunately, not as good as I could be since Sean is here, but
Oh, dear.
we deal with it.
Oh,
we
wow.
deal with it.
Oh,
they are frenemies.
Starting like that, are we?
Is it a fair thing to say we can call you frenemies?
Yes. No, I love him really, but I won't admit it in publicly, except just that.
Okay. And we got Stefan. Are you ready to talk Eurovision?
Good evening, Europe. Good morning, Australia.
So yes, I take that as a yes. And already people are saying Gabe won the internet. So
let's go.
It didn't take much with you. So just like yesterday, we are going to talk about 10 songs today, and we'll share our individual scores. And at the very end, I'll share with you the team score. And then I would love to hear from everyone in the chat what their thoughts are. So I don't think we should waste any more time because we got a lot to talk about. And the first country we are going to actually take apart, it sounds always so harsh, but we're going to discuss is Russia. So it is not Little Big, as I think most of us know by now, is Manizha. I hope I keep pronouncing that correctly. The very well-known band that we all know, though, we hoped and thought it would return this year after last year's cancellation, but they did not give Eurovision another shot. Instead, the Russian broadcaster put together a last-minute national final with 3 entries fighting it out, with Manizha ending up on top with her Russian Woman. The song is performed in Russian and English. This is a song about the transformation of a woman's self-awareness over the past few centuries in Russia. Now, the country hopes to continue with an impressive run at the contest, including a win in 2008. And the country joined the family, the Eurovision family, in 1994, has been a force to be reckoned with. And Russia will perform this time around in the first semifinal from position 3. So that is what we have in terms of Russia and what we're getting. Do we like the song or not? Where will it end up? Let me go first, since to give you all a little bit more time to think it through. Somebody has a lot of background noise typing, so just letting you know. The song to me has always been a little bit more of a I don't know how to feel about it kind of song initially. And by that, I mean, you hear it. I'm like, do I like it? Am I annoyed by it? And they're always like 2 or 3 songs every year. Maybe not 2. Yeah, 1 or 2 usually. And Russia is one of them, this one. But I am now at the point to leaning towards, I think I like it. And she got a lot of backlash in Russia, which kind of makes me want to like the song more. But the problem is, for me, I think, is Russian rap. Rap in general, to me, it's very difficult for me to get into it. And sometimes it's done well, yeah, but when it's in a language that I don't speak, it's just basically someone talking in a foreign language to me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So this is one of the few times where I'm saying maybe that should be translated into English. Usually I'm not necessarily an advocate of that. I know that they are saying for Eurovision they're going to have a more English heavy version, whatever that means. So I think for the rap part, at least, it would make sense. The rest, I don't need that. The second half of the song, I actually think, is quite good. I find it a lot more enjoyable, and especially it gets kind of grand, and it's just the kind of stuff that I like. It feels a little bit more Russian. Not that it always has to be that way, but I like that it has that elements. The production, like the track itself, I think could have been a little bit more slick. It seems a little bit less I don't want to say sophisticated, complete, but at least it's not overproduced, which is often a thing we all complain about. So, but this one is almost like underproduced, I would say. But overall, it's an enjoyable entry, and I think the more I listen to it, the more I like it. It's a grower. That's, I guess, my opinion. So yeah, overall, I'm not against the song. I kind of like it. How about you, Sean?
I agree with a lot of what you say. I disagree with some of what you say as well. Russian rap, by the way, is some of the best in the world. So I don't think you're a rap fan, so I can understand you not appreciating it, I guess. But just that's my first disagreement with you tonight. There's going to be many, I'm sure.
Off to a great start.
Yeah. I mean, I think at first I let my judgment be clouded by the fact that it wasn't Little Big, and the one artist I really wanted to return this year was Little Big, because I just thought it was great that they were in last year. They did release a song the night of the national final that's actually really good as well, and it would have been a great entry at Eurovision. So when they came with a last minute 3-song national final, and I heard the 3 songs and this one, I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, what are Russia doing? They've just absolutely lost the plot. Now, though, I agree with what you're saying in that it's a grower. It really is. It's an enjoyable hot mess, I think, is the best way to describe it, because it really is just so many different elements slammed together. I'm glad it's in Russian. It does feel like a very daring entry for them. But, I think it pays off, and I think she's a very likable singer, very likable personality, and I think that really shines through in the performance. I think they'll probably qualify with it because it's Russia, but it is quite a risk for them this year. So yeah, it'd be interesting. But the thing I like the most, I think, is there's a part where it's like a national anthem kind of bit, and that is just like it just feels like it's very, very unique but very Russian, and yeah, it's a lot of moving parts that they've managed to just cram together into one piece, and somehow they've got away with it. So, but yeah, it's an enjoyable hot mess is the best way to describe it.
Hot mess. Stefan, what do you think?
Yeah, like Sean said, it's a big hot mess, and I'm still torn apart between like, is it good, is it bad, is it awesome? That's why I think I gave it like a 7. But yeah.
Don't say it yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert. It's fine. It's fine.
It's been a long time since I've been doing this, so there is a lot of good rap artists in Russia, and I guess like I met Manizha now, and like she's one of the good ones. I am still concerned what is going to happen because of the so many good songs that are in the same semifinal as her, but I guess she will pull through.
Okay, Gabe, shoot.
So, I mean, firstly, I first listened to Manizha like maybe 3.5 years ago, when I was living in Russia at the time. I loved Manizha then. I love Manizha now, and I love this song. I loved it from the moment I heard it. I was dying for her to win the national final. I think the part that you guys have already spoken about with that powerful vocal, the sort of, I think you call that sort of a national anthem style, that is, in my opinion, that is the best part of the song, but it's made so powerful by the fact that it hits you so hard from everything else. I don't think it's a hot mess. If you listen to the rest of Manizha's music, this is absolutely in line with the kind of thing she does. She takes her music places. It's challenging for a reason, and its text is subversive. And I think we've seen that from the reaction in Russia. And that's part of the reason why I think it's so brilliant. I think so often with much as, and I have to say, I love Sergei Lazarev and I love his entries. But if you look at something like Sergei, Polina before that, you have a sort of very carefully packaged and stage managed entry from Russia, something that is easily controllable by the broadcaster, something that represents the country in a very specific way that it wants to be represented in. They're both great artists. I love their songs, but that's, in my opinion, just a fact of the matter. This is none of those things. This is subversive. I think they have somebody who's far more of a loose cannon than they're comfortable with. I think it's a product of the fact that they clearly organized the national final in such a hurry. This is clearly something that happened suddenly and in a way that they couldn't quite control. But I think it's just brilliant and fantastic that it has happened. We're going to see something so much more authentic and hard-hitting from Russia this year. I'm just so glad. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's brilliant. And I love her, and I love it, and I can't wait to see it. And it's an easy qualifier for me. Easy.
All right, so Gabe, not a fan. So let's see. So let's talk about the scores. I'm sure everyone wants to see Gabe's, but you're going to go last now. This is what I gave it initially when I sat down, like, because I didn't know what I like. I was like, would have been like a 5, but the more I listened to it, the more I like it. So I upgraded, and I'm giving it a 6. 6 points from me for Russia. Sean.
Just one point I forgot to mention earlier, but I really want to make it because I saw someone in the chat say it. This entry is a million times better live than it is in studio. And for Eurovision, that is big because that is really what you want. It's elevated live, and I think it's down to Manizha. So yeah, I forgot to make that point earlier, but I just wanted to point that out, that there's a lot of songs where you get the studio is good and then the live is awful. And this is the right way around for Eurovision. I gave it a 6.5 because it's not my favorite entry. It's not really troubling my top 10, but I can appreciate a lot of the qualities.
Okay, 6.5, more than I did. Stefan.
Spoiler alert.
I know. What is it?
Can I change it now, although? Like, no.
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 You get 14 now because you said 7 twice.
Yeah. It's still a 7 for me. Yeah.
7. No changes there. So, Gabe, what is it for you?
For me, for Manizha, it's a 9. It's one of my, definitely, it sits comfortably in my top 10 right now. I think it's a great entry. It's interesting. It's brilliant live, as Sean and chat said. It's just, it's so much fun. I can't wait to see it live. She's going to smash it with all the time she's got to prepare for Rotterdam. So yeah, a 9 out of 10 for me. Great job.
9 out of 10. So actually, I forgot one thing before we started talking about Russia to show you. I wanted to show everyone what the score would look like before we're going to share that. So let me put that on screen. So as you can see, yesterday's show, we had these 10 songs ranked. France currently in first place with 8.31 and North Macedonia in last place with 4.97. So this is kind of the range where we're talking about what Team United has given everyone. So let's see where Russia is going to fall. I don't have a graphic to up, so I'm just going to give the score here. I'm going to say it. Russia's score from Team United is 6.41. So 6.41 for Russia, and Gabe does not agree.
I do not agree. I do not agree at all. That's disappointing. I mean, I get why it's a love-hate thing. I understand why people would not like this song. I still thought it was going to come a bit higher than that. I was expecting maybe around a 6.8, 7, something like that.
Okay, well, it seems that Sean, we really like what we had, because I had a 6, you had a 6.5, Stefan had a 7, that we're kind of like where the team felt. How do you think? Sounds about right then, the score to you?
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that I'm right on the money, as I always am.
Okay,
so,
this ego stroking.
It proves that. I think I think what Gabe says is right. I knowing our team, I know there are some people that would have given this a straight 1 and moved on to the next song. So I can understand why it's a middling score. I think it's quite a fair result.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's actually encouraging, and Gabe should be a little more hopeful, because I keep saying that it's not you can vote against Russia at Eurovision. Like, your negative vote is irrelevant. All they care about is a good vote. So sometimes these average scores can be misleading, and what Manizha needs is a lot of Gabes, and there are more Gabes out there who would support it. Not literally, figuratively.
Whole armies, legions of Gabes. If I could just say one more quick thing about this that I think is worth noting as well, is that Manizha is a Tajik immigrant who moved to Russia as a child and has spent her whole life being discriminated against in Russia for being a Tajik, and her whole life being discriminated against in Tajikistan for being too Russian. So I think that in itself, it's a really big thing that she gets to stand on an international stage representing Russia and say, I made it here anyway. I don't care how Russian or Tajik or whatever you think I am.
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful message. I'm curious to see what people in the chat think in terms of the Russian song. What score would you give it? I see that and I'm butchering a lot of names. Irene give it 6. ESC Veggie gives it 6. G-Gel gives it a 7.5. F Purse a 6.5. Crystal a 6. And some people are saying it's too low. I will show everyone the full scoreboard in after a few of our reviews and see where it lands overall, and then of course at the very end as well. So this is where Russia falls as of right now, and I think we should get ready and move on to the next country and review it, and that one is Iceland. So I think we should go ahead and talk about it because that's what we're supposed to do here. So, Sean, you get the honor of talking about Iceland first. What are your thoughts?
Thank you. So this was another song where it started out and I heard it and I kind of went, okay. So I liked it from the beginning, but it is another grower. I do think that Iceland's moment was last year. Unfortunately, I do firmly still believe that Iceland would have won Eurovision last year if it had gone ahead. So I think the problem with this is that is he going to be a victim of his own hype? He's a known quantity, not just in Eurovision circles, but this Think About Things went global. It was all over. It was TikTok famous. It was everywhere. So my worry with it is the hype going to precede him? And are people going to be a little bit underwhelmed by this song? It's another charming entry. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. It's got a very Nile Rodgers chic feel, 80s sort of guitars and funk, and the video's great. It just shows about their likability, the charm, the character. They can bring a stage show to this and really make it pop live. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a good result for them, I think. Don't get me wrong, but that's my biggest worry with this. Is it's like the difficult second album. Is it going to be as good as last year? Was it their moment last year? But yeah, solid entry for me. Really enjoyable.
What he said. That's what my answer, because he kind of took everything, the words out of my mouth on this one, so I don't have much to say. I also worried that he had his moment last year, and because it's very difficult to write multiple winners. And if I had to put money down last year on who would win the contest, I would have put it on Iceland as well. So I thought that could have easily won it. What I find very interesting about the song is the lyrics are so straightforward. Like, when people write lyrics, they're often like more poetic, vague, and kind of thing. But he's like singing about his relationship to his wife. We've been together for 10 years. It's getting better. Like, he's actually talking to her and adding a melody. And I find that fascinating. And I find that actually very, very charming. That's like something I really like. And the lyrics are actually non-funny. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, talking about how much he loves his wife, but the whole presentation style is hilarious. So I find it always, wow, how can you make just like a song about love being so hilarious? But it's the staging, the persona, the outfits, and all of that one. So I find that just the package very, very fascinating. I do agree with Sean. I think about things. I think it had more of an immediate staying power than 10 years. In 10 years, I agree, also was a little bit of a grow for me as well. And it didn't stick with me like right away. But after listening a few times, I'm like, this is actually really good. And I really like the song actually now. And it is still fun, likable. And what I like, Daði, he's such a unique artist. And I think we need that at Eurovision. So his music is it's welcomed. I mean, every music is welcome, but especially his, because he just adds so much fun and diversity to the contest. So I like it more and more. How about you, Stefan?
Don't hate me, but I'm not.
Well, that's too late already.
I'm not a fan of that type of music, and like overall his work, like even the couple of years ago when he also participated in an Icelandic national final, I really didn't like that song. I do agree with Sean that he would won last year, but this year I think that he went into the studio making this song deliberately, knowing that he will not win this year. So still, it's like the same thing with Russia and Iceland, in my opinion. I'm torn in between. I do not hate the song. I do not love the song. I'm just like, meh. I can listen to it and I will forget like the moment it's over. So I will not spoil my.
That's okay. We all have those songs. You are forgiven. Gabe, I know you're going last again. I promise won't go like this all the time. But what are your thoughts?
It's fine. It just reminds me of my old middle school sports days. It's
really?
It's honestly exactly.
Yeah,
the
I
same.
want to. Okay, that's good.
We want
I think
to
we're
hear
actually.
about that more.
I'll talk about that more later. I'll have a little sob once we finish the stream. But anyway, I think we're all suffering from, and it's not our fault because we're all massive Eurovision fans, but I think we're all suffering from the same dissonance here between what we are perceiving and what the public is going to perceive. Sure, plenty of people got exposure to think about things last year, but nowhere near the level we had. So while that sound has perhaps aged a little bit for us, and it was never going to be as fresh as Think About Things, it won't have had the same effect on the general public. It will still do well with the televote. And our opinions aside, I actually still think this is on pretty much for a nailed top 5 finish. What limited exposure it's had to that same cultural media, if you take Lorraine Kelly, for example, here in the UK, again, posted it on Twitter, reacted to it very positively. The responses were all very positive as well. So actually, I still think it's going to do very well. In terms of my personal opinion, sure, it isn't Think About Things, but Think About Things was not the kind of entry that came along every day. That was like gold dust. This is still really, really good. It's catchy, it's fun, it has that same loving energy that was something that was so good about Think About Things last year. It's such a pure and innocent, happy song. And that in itself is something really nice and powerful. And I just think that kind of feeling, it just makes you feel all warm. And like, I just had a hot chocolate because I've been feeling a bit ill today before I came on the stream. And this song is like a cup of hot chocolate. It makes you feel warm inside. It's really nice. The performance is going to be really good. The fact that his wife is on stage with him and he's singing it to her is just really cute. Like, I just think it's a lovely song, lovely message, and it's going to do great. And I'm so glad he's back. I'm so relieved he is back. This is the artist I really wanted to return for this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I meant to I forgot to add that to my comment. I had actually a note. It is unfair. I wanted to say that as well, because with Think About Things, we saw it as a full package right away with the fun staging, all that stuff. Here we get the song first and the video. The music video didn't have the actual final package and staging, so we didn't get the whole vibe. And we will see it really on the Eurovision stage as a whole product. So yes, it is kind of unfair. This whole year, my cat is knocking over my cam here right now. This whole year is kind of so messed up. She gets shaken. Dustin, stop it. Shush, shush. And
the joys of live streaming, eh?
I know, he always does it. It is a really year to review songs for that reason, because last year's cancellation, and it's so hard to just kind of get past that and not think about things, pun intended. But yeah, so let's talk about our scores and see where Iceland will end up in our ranking. Shum, what did you give it?
I think Gabe raised a very good point, and that people might just look at this and go, hey, it's the Think About Things guy. I'm going to vote for him. So there could be that kind of thing as well, regardless of the song. Sure. For me, it's an 8. Probably a higher score than it would have been to begin with, because I was a little underwhelmed by it. But like we've said, it's a grower. I think once you see it in the full context of the package and what they're trying to do, I think it is another solid entry from him. And he's obviously very accomplished and knows what he wants as an artist, and that shines through in all of his work. So yeah, 8 from me.
I'm just really annoyed because I'm known to be the nice guy, yet my scores always seem to be just a tad lower than Sean's, because I'm giving it a 7.5. Basically everything that he said, but I ended up with that. So 7.5 coming from me for Iceland. And Stefan, what did you give it?
I gave it a 6.
Okay, so it's not going too bad. Gabe, what did you give it?
Yeah.
So Matt, if you're the nice guy, I must be the really nice guy, because I give it a 9 again.
Wow, 9.
Like I said, I'm just really fond of it. Let's remember, this is not Think About Things. It is not trying to be Think About Things, and the comparison to Think About Things is more limited than we think it is. Like, this is a great song in its own right. It stands up by itself, and I can't wait to see it live.
All right. So let's take a look before I give the score to see what the chat is saying. It's a solid 7, 8, 8, 6, 9, 6, 1, 7, 7.5, 7, 7, 7. Yeah. One. So I see it, glancing at it, you all can see it. It's like seems to be like a lot of 6 to 8 seems to be like a lot of what people are thinking about Iceland. And I'm giving you the team score right now. Iceland's final score from Team United is somewhere on here. Oh, there it is. 7.23. So once again, I gotta go to Gabe, who is making a face of disapproval. You thought it would be higher, huh?
Yeah, I think this is, we might as well call it the think about things effect at this point, is that I think because we were all so saturated by it last year, and it achieved a better saturation than basically any Eurovision entry in recent times, except for maybe like Euphoria, and that's level.
Yeah.
Because we're so saturated by it, I think you can't expect something like that to happen twice in a row, and it never was going to. So I think perhaps the disappointment is having a down pushing effect on people's scores.
Yeah, I thought it was low too, because I thought I would be on the lower end with my 7.5. Turns out I was actually slightly above what the team had. So I'm also was quite disappointed. I thought it would be at least in the mid to high sevens. So seeing it this, I mean, 7.23 is not a bad score, right? And we're going to see in just a moment after the next song where it ends up in our ranking. But I thought it deserved a little more as well. And I'm partially responsible for it, I guess. Maybe I should have given it a little bit more. But again, I'm only one vote. Any other thoughts on this?
I think you've kind of covered everything, really. It was, I can understand the score because yes, some people are going to love this, but a lot of people, it's just going to be a nice song. You know, it's charming, it's twee, but it's not really. You know, people get excited by different things, and it might not be as exciting for a lot of people. So
let's see what people. Go ahead. Sorry.
Can I?
Yeah.
And some people will be, damn, I should have gone to the loo.
Oh yeah, that is true. There are it's and that's with a lot of songs. Let's see what some of the people in the chat are saying. How can this be less than Greece, which has lyrics pulled from a Scrabble tile bag? I think this is what Sean says in my view is that it really comes down to what people get excited by different things, and some people like originality, what Iceland I can feel is bringing to the table, and some people like what's a little bit more like comfortable pop or mainstream. Like it just really comes down to that. I think that's a fair thing to say. It's just you cannot really explain it.
I don't really think you compare this to Greece. They are really different entries. They're different genres of music. It seems like a weird comparison to me.
That's true. Daði was really popular last year. People will remember him, and I think he will qualify. Someone saying, yeah, and I think Sean said something similar to that effect. Do you think people? I mean, he was like a TikTok star, like people use this song. Do you really think that he's? I don't live in Europe, so I cannot really tell. Was he really like on UK TV or in Serbia? Stefan said people actually were like exposed to his song.
Yes, I've heard it like a couple of times on several radio stations playing it. Also, like even in some malls. But I know that I'm gonna like go on a completely other topic. What's surprising me the most is like radio stations here are still playing France. I'm Not Sorry. Like, what's the name of this song? I forgot it. Like,
I'm Not Sorry.
Oh, yeah. If I were sorry.
Sweden,
France.
Sweden,
yeah.
2016.
Oh, not France.
Oh, I thought France, Sweden. I'm sorry. I thought it was
So that is like more surprising for me than like Daði's song, because like it went like we said like globally on like on TikTok, on Instagram, on like so many challenges. But
yeah. I mean, in the UK it was popular. It got in the charts. It was on Strictly. There was all kinds of celebrities sharing it on Twitter. Like even some of my friends were playing the song, and they're not Eurovision fans, so. It obviously permeated in the UK at least. So
a song breaks through when
that could have an effect.
As the weird Eurovision friend, when you start getting asked unprompted about a Eurovision song, that is when you know it has broken through. Everyone I know is asking me about this as the weird Eurovision friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are not a weird Eurovision friend. You're just weird. So just remember that. It's weird.
Yeah. Takes one to know one, Matt.
I can't argue with that, I guess. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our next one. And afterwards, I will actually finally show you one of the scoreboards. Next up on our list is Ukraine. And Goa is another returnee. The band won the national final last year, and they were asked by the Ukrainian broadcaster to represent the country in 21 as well without having to battle it out in a national final. The band submitted 3 songs, and a panel ultimately picked Shum, which is the song for Ukraine in Rotterdam, obviously. Now, Ukraine has probably the best track record when it comes to qualification, never missing the final since the introduction of the semi-system back in 2004, and they hope to continue that trend this year. Now, Ukraine joined the contest in 2003 and already won the whole thing twice in 2004 and again in 2016. They will perform in the first semi-final in position 15, the second to last song of the night. All right, Ukraine, definitely a big player in the world of Eurovision. Did they do it this year? Let's find out. In terms of the song, if you like Solove, I would say you will like Shum. I forgot the name. Shum. And here's the thing. This is a very tricky one, Ukraine. I really, really like having this song at Eurovision. And it's even not my kind of go-to music, if that makes any sense. And I feel like I'm giving a compliment with a criticism at the same time for the rest of this. I'm thankful it is in the running. Like, it's just like when you think Eurovision, you want to have that kind of music, even though if it's not on, I won't go to my play or my shuffle, whatever, and put it on, if that makes any sense. But in the framework of Eurovision, I want that here, and yet it's not on my playlist. I'm just really just contradicting myself all the time. But it's just one of those things, like, you have an appreciation for it and you want it at Eurovision, even though it's not your kind of music. And I will give it a lot of appreciation just for having a unique sound. And it will, I know Ukraine will do a great job. It'll look fun on the stage and it'll be a moment. And that is what Ukraine is so good at. Whatever song they're sending, they make sure that it works for either the juries or the televoters or both. So I have a lot of faith in Ukraine doing well. The song to me is fine and I like it. It's just, again, I will probably give it more points than maybe I would give it if it weren't as innovative, I guess, for the lack of a better word. But yeah, so I'm kind of have that relationship with the song. I'm glad it's there, yet I am not going berserk over it based on my personal taste. How about you, Stefan?
Like you said, like we had 3 songs to choose from, like not we, but like Ukrainian people. This is the song I like the least. Funny thing is, I don't remember the names of the other 2 songs that I actually like. So,
yeah,
like our grandmas used to say, when you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yes, that is.
Like,
So,
yeah, they had like their track record of qualifying, but I think this is not their year that like they will stay in the semifinal. That's like just my personal opinion.
Okay, so yeah, in America we would say I would plead the fifth, meaning I don't want to self-incriminate myself. Therefore, I'm not saying anything.
No.
That's what we usually. It's
Well,
just.
if it's true, it's not a crime. So
I know I'm being silly. That's usually what people say as jokes. Gabe, what do you think?
So I'll start with sort of what I see as the positive. Like you said, it's unique, it's interesting, it's doing something that no other country is doing, and it brings us a really unique twist on sort of traditional Ukrainian folk music, adding these new elements and sort of the electronic side, as Solove did more effectively, in my opinion, but I'll come to that in a minute. I think Goa are a really interesting group. I think they have, like I said, a really unique and interesting sound. The thing is that with a song like this, it's going to be a you get it or you don't kind of song. And therefore, I understand, like with Russia, for example, which is also a you get it or you don't, you like it or you don't kind of song. And there isn't really that much middle ground. This one, for me, I don't. That's not a reflection of the song or the artist. It just doesn't personally click with me. That said, I see no reason why it couldn't qualify. You're in the same kind of situation where it doesn't really matter if half of Europe hates it, it doesn't matter, because if the other half really love it, it'll do great. So I think it's very difficult to say where it's going to end up. But for me, unfortunately, it just doesn't quite work. Like I said, that is not a slight on the quality of the song. I think it's well put together. It's interesting and unique, exactly the kind of thing we need at Eurovision. Just, for me, it doesn't quite work.
Okay, fair enough. Sean?
I think for me on a personal level, and I know this doesn't translate to Eurovision, but the disappointment for me was that they released a 4-minute version of this track, which was brilliant. And then obviously they had to, edit it, make sure it's contest ready. And it lost a little bit of the magic for me because some of the elements they changed. It made it a bit punchier. But I liked the way that the first version built, and I think that's what it was. I think it was like top 3, top 4 for me through a lot of the time. It's dropped a little bit for me, but it's still a daring entry. I think it is really unique and innovative, the way that they do it, and I like what they stand for in terms of putting their local twist on electronic music, and I'm an electronic music fan, so it does hit the right buttons for me. I prefer it to Solove. I think it hit me the other day. I was listening to ESC radio, and Voda by Elitsa and Stoyan came on, and I was like, "This is 2021's answer to that song. It's the 2021 version of Voda," and there are so many factors that I want to point out with this. Is that the biggest thing for Goa at Eurovision is that there's going to be an audience this year. We know that. And it's the second to last song in the semi-final with an audience reacting to that song. It is going to go big, and it's going to have an impact because you've seen it so many times. A song can be absolutely elevated by an audience or a live performance. I think that's going to happen here. I saw someone in the comments saying it as well. It could even overshadow Malta a little bit. I don't know if that'll happen because Malta stands up in its own right. It's for another video. But yeah, I think for me, it lost a little bit with the edit. But for people watching for the first time on the night, it's really going to have an impact. I don't think they're going to have any issues in that semi-final. And who knows? It's a difficult one to predict, but they could go top 10, top 5. You never know with Eurovision. So
you never know. That's the fun part.
Sorry, I'm sorry. No. You have to take in consideration that it's actually Dutch audience who will be in the arena, not like overall European audience.
That is
true. I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters.
If you want to talk... Sorry, go on. You go.
No, I was just going to say, if you've got such an impressive live performance and, you get goosebumps, it doesn't matter what nationality you are, if you're seeing something. People who were in Denmark and they watched Rise Like a Phoenix live for the first time, not all of them would have been Austrian, but God, if you didn't watch that and get goosebumps, then it doesn't matter what nationality these people are, because otherwise you're going to have a. You're going to have a.
About the nationality, but like Rise Like a Phoenix has that vibe that like you will get the chills with the first tracks.
But this is what I'm saying. That I think this is going to be one of them songs that's going to have that vibe and it's going to be elevated.
I was like, this doesn't just happen for songs like Rise Like a Phoenix, though. I mean, think about it. People often forget it. In 2018, Rasmussen won the televote. He showed up, put in an incredible live performance. The audience went mad. I was in that audience. It was brilliant. And he won the televote in that semi-final. It is not just restricted to songs that give you goosebumps. So personally, I disagree that this song will do that. But it absolutely, you don't need to have a song full of, you don't need to have an audience full of people who are from a certain place or who are looking for a certain genre of music for it to happen. It can come from really unexpected places.
Yeah.
And to be fair, nobody fancied Rise Like a Phoenix before the contest.
I did, just for the record, but I'm way ahead of my time. Let's go through the scores real quick and see how we feel about it. I went first, right? So yes, I hear what everyone is saying. I kind of agree almost with everyone with your points. Because it gives me a little bit of a stress level of the song. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little anxiety with this. I probably didn't give as many points as I should have, but it's still a 6.5 from me. So I guess it could have been worse. Stefan, what did you give it?
I gave it a 3, and that's like being really, really generous.
All right, Gabe.
So, like I say, I'm glad it's here, but it just doesn't work for me. And so this is, I don't mean to, so I didn't want to be too negative, and I understand the appeal of it. So I gave it a 5. I get it. I'm glad it's here, just not quite for me.
Okay. Sean.
I gave it a solid 7. I think before the revamp, it would have been 8, maybe 8.5 at a push even. It lost a little bit for me, but I can really appreciate the package that they've got for Eurovision.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3 because of the revamp. Like before, it was like maybe a 1.5. Like actually.
Let's see what the chat's saying in terms of 6.5, 9.5, 10, 8, 2, 8, 7, 2. It's like,
this is actually Matt's credit card number. I hope someone's taking notes because I'm gonna buy myself something nice later.
Dang. Don't use no, that's it. So I see that the point is, I think there is a lot of polarizing opinion on this one. I think that's what we kind of mentioned. And any other thoughts, by the way, people in the chat that you want to share about Ukraine inside? Make sure you post it in there. It always helps if you do at ESC United. But for now, let's see what Team United gave Ukraine. And the score is 7.22.
Ooh.
So, as you can see, all four of us were below the team's average. So, Sean, as technically the kindest person of the team, were you surprised?
Yeah, because it's like you've just read out from the people that are watching at the minute, 8s and 2s and 3s and 10s and whatever else. I was expecting exactly 5.00 because people are just either love it or hate it, and when you average it out, obviously our team just have a lot of people who this really works for. So I know it's a popular song. I mean, I see it in the ranking game every week. There are people who love this 12, 10s, 8s all the time. So and it's like you said earlier, you can't vote against the song, so that can only work for them.
Yeah, that is true. So let's have a look at the current scoreboard now that we have 3 songs in: Russia, Iceland, Ukraine. Here we go. As you can see, no one has touched the top 3 yet. France, Lithuania, and Greece still our top 3. Iceland now in 4th place. Ukraine just behind Iceland, so it was really close. And Russia currently in 8th place. North Macedonia still trailing. Folks, any surprises? What do you think, Gabe?
I mean, I can't. I'm very surprised Ukraine is that high. I guess like Sean said, I think it must just appeal to a lot of our team. There are some things in this list that I don't like. There are some things in this list that I like very much. Namely, it amuses me greatly that the bottom 3 is probably exactly, of these 13, exactly what the order I'd put it in, and exactly the places. Although I do like Vassal. I mean, I have personal reasons for not liking Azerbaijan, so it satisfies me to see it falling down slowly. Hopefully, it'll continue.
Any other thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sean?
I'm looking at Slovenia, and I'm baffled that the average is like 6.3 or whatever it was. I mean, I don't. It's not it. Maybe it's not me. It misses me, but I just don't see the appeal to have an average that high. And I know there's a lot of people that also don't rate the song, so that does surprise me. But to each their own.
I am surprised that Slovenia is that low. Actually, like.
Really?
What?
Well, there you go. That just proves my point.
That's the point.
I think I'd love to see the breakdown. I think I'd be willing to put a lot of money on the fact that it would have got a lot of 6s and 7s and not many like 2s.
Yeah, I think I would have. I think I have it still up here, even though we're not going to really talk about Slovenia a whole lot today. Let me see. Yes, we have a couple of high scores and 1 or 2 low scores, but for the most part, it's like between 5.5 and 7.5, it seems. So I think that's what kind of caused that. Anyway, let's move on because we are running out of time at some point. The next country on my list is Finland. And poor Axel, first of all. The singer who won last year's UMK tried his luck again. This time around, he really wanted to go to Eurovision, but nobody could stop Blind Channel. The band owned the national final this year with their song Dark Side, and now gets to enjoy the Eurovision experience. Finland's story at Eurovision is interesting. The country first took part in 1961 and never really made it into the top 5 until 2006, when Lordi out of nowhere won the contest with Hard Rock Hallelujah. Man, good times. Let's see if Dark Channel can impress Europe Finland was allocated to the second semi and will be the 14th song of the night. I'm dying to hear what you all have to say about this one. And Stefan, you have the honor to go first on this one.
Yeah, like I think that people could have made a conclusion so far, like seeing my ranks, that there are like 3 types of songs that I like: trashy bops, sad ballads, and like rebel songs. This is a perfect rebel song, in my opinion. Like again, we're seeing like high schooler boys. I think that they are really young, like the Soft Engine that we had like a couple of years ago. So for me, it's between them and Italy. Somebody will pick like that type of voters. Hopefully, it's gonna be Finland, in my opinion. But what they need is a lot of pyro effects on that stage, because like that one shoot of fireworks at UMK was like nothing. They need more. They need more action on the stage.
Yeah. All right. Gabe, your thoughts?
So, in
This is
theory,
not starting start. Okay, go ahead. Your facial, I love your facial expressions. I didn't mean to interrupt. Like, go ahead. Sorry.
it's all in the eyebrows. So I should. There's something I can't get past this, and I was debating with myself about whether I should bring it up. To be honest, in theory, I should really like this song. But to be honest, there is one thing that ruins it for me, and people can think that this is overreacting if they like, or that if I'm fixating on something too minor. But I'm sorry, but like I don't buy into lyrics glamorizing the 27 Club at all. And I have a like we have to remember what that means. Like the 27 Club, as glamorous as people throw it around like it's some sort of whimsical term, when actually it is. It refers to pretty gruesome deaths of famous people, mostly on the backs of horrific treatment from press and the people around them. And as somebody who's lost a family member to alcohol at the age of 27, I heard that the first time I heard this song and I switched it off. And I was furious and upset, and I'm sorry to bring the mood down a little bit on this, guys.
Honesty.
And like once I've made this point and my rant is done, let's move straight on from it. But like, you have to, they aren't just words. These aren't just things that you can throw around. These are people's lives. They have meaning. And when I hear stuff like that, I'm sorry, but we have to at some point we have to say no. You can't go around glamorizing these kinds of things. So for me, this song would be one of my favorites if they weren't saying stupid things like that. As the person in the chat just said, words have power. So, like, as somebody who has lost a close relative to exactly the things that they're singing about and romanticizing, just grow up. Just grow up. And that is all I have to say about that. Really?
And I hate because I'm supposed to go next after you. No, but the thing is,
I should say actually, I don't hold it against people who like this song, and I understand why. And I understand why this is particularly personal.
Yeah.
But like, just for me, it's a non-starter.
Yeah. To me, I don't have that personal experience, that one in particular, but I agree with everything that you said, because I would say that Finland probably would have been one of my absolute favorites if it wasn't for that. Every time I hear the Club 27 piece, it is a very, it's this the angst that kids have that is sometimes, it is just almost taking advantage of it and making it a cool thing, which is not. And as you pointed out, Club 27 is famous people who died at a young age. Anytime you're 27, it's tragic. There is no good way to die at 27. Whether it's, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse. So they're all like part of this alleged club, which it's not a thing. And I never liked glorifying that number anyway, just because they're all tragically died at that age. So that part of the song is my least favorite part as well, because I do like the idea of the song very, very much. Like, it's a certain aggressiveness, and it almost has like this sole place in the contest, the monopoly of this specific anger or not aggressiveness that other songs don't have, and they can definitely bank on that. And I like that idea. It's not 100% perfectly executed for the same reason that Gabe just brought that up. I do think that most people don't get it, right? So when they listen to it, they won't get that whole 27 Club. It's just, I didn't even catch it the first time that they said it. So I get that. I do, though, looking past that, I do actually really, really love this song because it's my kind of music. It was like very pop. This is very Finnish, like aggressive pop. And that was popular like several years ago. I'm not calling it outdated. I'm saying this has been the kind of music that has been quite popular. Sean, probably like the online contest we've done, years ago, that music kind of like that was very popular. I still think this is Finland's best shot at the contest since Lordi. And I still like the song, but I agree with what some of you pointed out. Sean, what do you think?
Well, just on the lyrical side of things, I agree somewhat to the extent. Obviously, it's not personal for me. But yeah, the lyrics are a little bit. They are quite edgy for Eurovision, especially. Never mind just in a song like this. But I think a lot of the songs in this genre and a lot of bands in this genre, they are cliched lyrics for that type of song. So I can kind of get it. Moving past that, because I am biased and lyrics matter to me unless it's a song I really like, and then I don't care. For me, this song is a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. Iconic for Eurovision, so different. It just appeals to all the sort of Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, new metal, naughty sensibilities that I grew up on, and I'm so happy to see a song like this not only entered into a national final, smash the vote in that national final, and get to Eurovision. And there's something that really resonates in this. I think they need to improve the performance a little bit from UMK because it was a little bit lackluster. But the song obviously really carried it to where it got to anyway. I'm not too worried because Finland tend to, the staging at Eurovision, they normally up their game a little bit. But when Finland get it right at Eurovision, they get it so right. This is a brilliant, brilliant song. I love it. I've had it on repeat for so long. It has immediate impact as well, which is vital. There's no way that someone watching this live at Eurovision is not going to have an opinion on the song. They're not just going to go, it was okay, or that was a song. They're either going to hate it or they love it, I think. And a lot of the people in the Eurovision fandom seem to love it, which is quite surprising, actually, to me. I don't see it as a viable sort of winner, just because I don't think it's going to have enough support across the board. But I can see a top 5 being very possible with this. I think the juries could appreciate this a lot more than people may give them credit for. But yeah. Wonderful, wonderful song. I'm really happy it's in Eurovision.
All right, so let's see what the scores are going to tell us and where it ends up. Stefan, what did you give it?
Yeah, I remember us in 2016, and I remember Sean being so happy when UK jury gave 12 points to Georgia. Yeah, so I'm living for the moment. My life will lose its purpose if UK jury does not give 12 points to Finland this year. So because we don't have 12 points,
no pressure.
I'm giving it. I'm giving it a 10.
Oh, 10. That's a pretty good start. Gabe, what did you get?
So I think it is important, and I think in terms of being professional, it's important for me to say, especially to people who are in chat who may be upset by my comments, I understand that my reasoning from what I said, it's entirely personal. I don't expect anyone else to change their reflection on their song on the basis of what I said or anything like that. And if it weren't for that, it's entirely just this single personal string in my mind that I would really like the song if it weren't for that. I did still give it a 5 because I didn't want to bomb it. I think that would have been petty and over the top of me to do, to give it a 1 or something just because of that. And I do I just like I said, it is something ordinarily I would try to push. I push it all aside for this one specific thing. I can't quite look past it. So I gave it a 5. Not that it's a bad song, but yeah. As for the person saying apologizing for having my own opinion, I'm not apologizing for having my own opinion. I just understand that in this case, it's obviously something that it's a sort of unique and very personal thing. So I just want to be professional about it as well.
Yeah, I think that's very raw and honest, and that you can only appreciate that. So don't, if you apologize, I'd be mad. So, no, you're good. As I said, as much as I struggled with the lyrics, but even didn't affect me, I still love the song as a whole, and I'm kind of more with Sean on that one. It is almost a perfect song for me. Therefore, it's almost getting an almost perfect score, 9 points. Sean, what did you give it?
I gave it a 2.
You broke up for a second. Can you say one more time?
I obviously gave it 10. 10.
You gave it 10?
I obviously gave it 10. Yeah, 10, 10, 10, 10,
Okay.
100,000, whatever you want to give it. 10.
Yeah.
Well, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 100,000, that's 100,040 in total.
Stop cheating. Yeah.
That's what I gave
so
it.
the chat says 8, 9, 9.5, 6.5, 1, 7.5, 8.2. That's not a thing. 2, 0, not a thing either. 7.5, 10. So I think it seems as 75% really love it and 25% are like, not at all. So let's see if that's kind of reflected in the ESC United score overall. Finland's score
7.5, I'm saying. You're
saying 7.5?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're wrong. It is 7.47. But you almost So 7.47, Gabe, going back to you, not even going back to, but so you thought that seems like a
reason, number? I mean, sort of personal stuff aside, it's a good song. It's well performed. It's sort of unique. It obviously some people make the Italy comparison in chat. I understand why, but I also kind of disagree because I think they are quite different songs. But I understand why it's got that kind of Linkin Park thing with a broad appeal, and so because of that, I think it'll do well. And that score pretty much reflects what I expected.
Yeah. Final question to you, Sean, as one of the Stefan as well, both of you technically. You're okay with that score? I mean, knowing what you know about how the song comes across.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a song that I can see a lot of, I could see like 5 or 6 people giving this a 10 in our team. I could see people tanking it and, a couple of people tanking it. But I think a lot of people appreciate the power and the musicality of this song. And I think that, it's a fair reflective result of that.
All right. Stefan, do you feel good about it? Don't want to skip you.
Yeah, especially like performing after Portugal and Bulgaria. So I think they will get a lot of votes.
Okay, so there is some confidence out there, which I like. So that's our review of Finland. Let's move on to the next country on the list. It's Romania. And Roxen was ready to perform Alcohol You at the contest last year, but since that didn't happen, we all know why. The broadcaster brought her back this year as well. Unlike in 2020, though, no national final was put together for her. It was an internal selection with the help of a committee, and Amnesia is the song for Romania, and they're hoping to take the country back to the finals after 2 non-qualifications. Romania started their Eurovision journey in 1994, and their best result are 2 third places, one in 2005 and then again in 2010. Remember Playing with Fire? Now, Romania will perform in the first semi, position number 13. So, Romania, can they do it? Do they have a quality song to actually make the cut? Sean, what do you think?
This was one that really captivated me from the beginning. This bunch of songs in tonight's group are really good songs. I'm going to say that. So I'm going to be like positive about a lot of them. But yeah, I think the production in this one is fantastic. It's got a really rich sound. I love the like skipping piano effect that sort of runs throughout it. It's really unique. And I think what they did with this is they took a lot of the sort of plus points from Roxen's songs from last year. It feels to me. It seems like last year they really learned a lot about Roxen as an artist and how she performs. And I think Romania is one of the countries this year that really effectively used the second chance for the artist. because I think she's grown as an artist in the last year, and I think this is really reflective of where she is now.
All right.
It's got good lyrics, competent lyrics, not cliche, and sort of really relatable, I think, to a lot of people right now, especially. As much as I said earlier, I don't pay attention to lyrics. I do sometimes.
As a native speaker,
so
that's always funny.
It's something I could. Yeah.
Disgusting
it
hypocrisy,
depends.
Sean.
It's bad, I know. Yeah. Oh, I always do disgusting hypocrisy. It's what I do. I mean, yeah. Just in general, it's a really well produced, radio friendly type song. I think it could do really well at the contest. I think the staging has to be right for it. That's one thing that does worry me, particularly with how Roxen performed some of the entries in last year's national final. But hopefully she's grown and she's more confident as an artist, and knows how to represent it. And yeah, overall, really good, solid package.
Wonderful. Gabe.
It's funny you mentioned last year's national final, because I did want to find a way to shoehorn in her "Yes, girl, give us nothing" energy from the performance of Cherry Red. But I think looking back, what you said about like what is right for her as an artist is really important, because even though that performance was kind of, at the time, it was a bit of a joke in the fandom, you could tell it wasn't what she wanted to be singing. And this is the first good thing for about the century, is exactly that: the fact that she's clearly in the style of music that she wants, and they are respecting her artistic direction. That's important. I think it's a good song. I enjoy it. It doesn't quite like pop out for me like as a super favorite of mine, but I enjoy the song. It's certainly one I'm quite happy when it comes up on my shuffle, and it doesn't get skipped. I listen to it and I enjoy it. Like I say, it doesn't have quite the energy that. This is the thing, right? On one hand, I thought Alcohol You was a better song. On the other hand, Alcohol You is a rubbish pun, and that should be universally condemned and treated as the hate crime that it is. So, therefore, I prefer this entry on that basis. I think somebody in chat says they're watching me. I think I'm towing a fine line. But no, let me say this. I like this song. Doesn't like massively sort of jump out for me, but it's going to do well. I enjoy it. And I think when it comes, it will make it through to the final, deservedly so. It'll get a good result in the final, deservedly so. It's not going to be one of the entries I'll vote for, probably just because it's squeezed out by some really big favourites of mine. But it's an enjoyable song, and it's the kind of thing we need in the contest. It's like a ballad that has something about it, rather than some of the really boring stuff, which we're not reviewing tonight, luckily, for the most part.
Thank God. No, and I think I can only echo what Gabe just said. I kind of feel exactly the same way about the song. It is not my favorite song per se. Like, I don't think I'll be I'll root for everyone. That's not the right word. But if I were to vote, I wouldn't vote for it. I think the problem is, and that's my fault. Like, it's a personal thing again. Musically, it's probably a little bit more too depressing for me to enjoy it, because just the environment and when I'm very much gravitating towards the more uplifting songs because I just need it right now. So it's just a timing issue for me, maybe. I will say it's probably one of the most modern songs. Like, this is something I could see out of the Billboard charts just right now, which is not always a good thing for me, because there's a lot of rubbish in the charts, but I think they definitely had definitely something there in terms of like current music scene. That's really good. And I will say, and it's not going to affect my judgment because it's irrelevant, but I loved the music video only because there is an interesting message behind the song, and the interpretive dance kind of thing really helped for people, even if you don't speak the language. It almost like did it so well to make work with the lyrics and what struggles she's going through. And if they could recreate that on the Eurovision stage, I think that would be a very effective tool to do. So I think it's a very competent song. I think it's why a lot of people like it. And even though this is not the song that was maybe working for me all the way, I can absolutely acknowledge its quality. So it's one of those songs, and I think that's what I'm trying to do. I don't just dismiss a song because I don't necessarily have it as my favorite. I can see definitely why people like it and the quality. That's my opinion. And how about you, Stefan?
Well, I will like go a bit in the back. Like Sean said, this song is a grower, and she also, as an artist, she grew like since last year. I really didn't like her song from last year. but this is really a grower in my opinion. My only concern is her knowledge of English and the overuse of autotune that we can hear like in the video and in the audio version. So will she be able to perform the song like clearly and as good as she's doing it in the video? That is the big question. Also to all those commenters who's saying like bad things about Gabe, I have to say, because you know that I speak several languages, Gabe'den nefret etme. Lütfen insanlar, lütfen.
No one said bad things.
That was in Turkish, like don't hate Gabe because he has a right to his own personal opinion.
Okay.
Well, that
I'm
is
going to take your word on that.
No, I you know, like I don't mind if anyone disagrees with my opinion, that's fine. I don't mind. You know.
Yeah.
I am here to have terrible opinions, and then
You're doing really good at that.
Yeah, exactly, and then accept my $200 an hour payment from Matt, which I'm sure he'll be sending me as soon as we're finished. Won't you?
Are getting paid.
What?
You're getting paid, Matt. Where is my salary? You owe me for like 6 years worth of work.
Gabe, is that all you're on an hour? Wow.
I know, right? It's really disgraceful. I'm going to go on strike. I'm going to go on strike.
What's happening here? Like, oh.
Yeah, don't get naked on camera here, please. Thank you. So the next part is where we're going to give our scores. So who did I have go first? It was you, Gabe, right?
It was Sean.
Sean, what's your score?
Then me, and then Stefan.
I gave it a very solid 9. It's one of my favorite songs this year, which does surprise me in a way. But it's a really slick production, really solid pop song. But it's also interesting, and it explores themes that other pop songs don't always do. So yeah, really good from Romania this year.
Yeah. Okay. So Gabe.
So from Sean's very solid 9, it's a distinctly mushy 6 from me. I do wonder whether I'm being a little harsh. But as we know, you cannot change the scores. Otherwise, Matt will kill you. He literally comes to your house. One time I tried to do it during a stream last year, and then he literally beat down my door with an axe, like Shining style. It was terrifying.
Gosh, you hold on a grudge for long, huh? Man, I thought
listen, man, replacing that door cost a lot of money. I lost my deposit. But yeah, so it's a 6 from me. I enjoyed the song. It doesn't quite pop off to me in the way some other songs do, but it's a good song. It'll do well, and it deserves to do well.
Gosh, I really hate going after Gabe because everything that he said, I agree. And I also kind of give it a mushy 6.5, though. So I feel a little better than you. But for the same reasons, it deserves to do well. If it does, I could not be mad. It's just an okay song somewhere in the middle of my ranking. How about you, Stefan?
Well, at first it was a 9 for me, but I had to give it 8.5, only because of my concern about her performing it in English.
All right. So then let's take a look what the team scores. Okay, Sean, give it a guess.
6.9, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees?
Yeah.
And that wasn't just for memes. That was a genuine guess.
You guess.
Yeah.
Actually, because I don't think anyone's going to hate it, I think the score will inflate because of that. So I'm going to go 7.1, 7.2.
Okay. Well, the score is 6.88. Sean, darn.
Oh, I won the money.
You won the money.
This is what you pay me for.
Yes, exactly. 6.88. And Stefan, how you feel? Fair?
Yeah, no, I mean that there is no point of me telling how I feel because we all have our own right to our own opinions. So Gabe said, he has some personal opinions about Azerbaijan, so I also have some personal opinions about some other countries, but let's not get that interfered.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to show the final score in just a moment after the next song, and I thought it was going to get high because it's very popular with the ESC United crowd. So I thought it would be more popular on our team. I thought it was going to break this 7. So I was more like thinking down the Gabe's line 7.2, 7.3. So 6.88 was a little bit of a surprise for me. So we got to move on because we're already running behind time here. Let's talk about the next song, and it's going to be interesting. It is Cyprus. So, a lot of acts returned this year from last year's, but Sandro did not. The singer who was ready to go to Rotterdam last year is being replaced by Elena Tsagrinoú, something like that. Her song El Diablo was chosen internally, a common practice in Cyprus, as we all know, as of late at least. The country debuted in 1981 and has had several top 10 results, but it was in 2018 when the country brought back home its best result to date when Eleni Ferreira finished in second place with Fuego. Let's see what's going to happen here. I guess Spanish song titles really work in Cyprus. We'll find out later in May. Eleni will perform in the first semi from position 8. So I'm really, really curious what y'all have to say. So Stefan, why don't you go first on this one?
Okay, didn't expect that.
Sorry.
Well, let's say that I first want to thank my hairdresser for Head and Shoulders and for my beautiful dander-free hairstyle.
Other shampoos are available.
Yeah. Let's go back to business. It's a good song. I like to hear it. Like, I'm listening to it every day. Yes, people are comparing it to other songs that shall not be named tonight. But again, like, I still have concerns about non-English speaking singers that practically don't use English almost anytime perform an English song. So at least like Eleni Ferreira, she had like a loads of songs in English before Fuego, so she does have some experience. But I didn't listen. I didn't know about Elena before she came up as Cypriot representative. But I am looking forward to see the performance and what the whole delegation has in their pockets like this May.
All right, Gabe.
So I want to shout out to all the Cypriot fans in chat who are very excited, and rightly so, because they have a fucking banger. Sorry, language. But this song, firstly, I think it's great. Like, okay, so Lady Gaga comparisons aside, I get why they exist, but this is a banger in its own right. Let's list all the reasons why this is great. Cyprus has brilliant food and is really sunny, so if it wins, we all get to go to Cyprus. We will have an amazing fortnight. Secondly, this song made the church so mad because they thought it was satanic. That is hilarious. Like, objectively, that is hilarious. Like, it's a great song. It's a bop. I love it. It's relatable because the message underneath it is actually something that's really a lot of people can relate to. Is when, I mean, I'm sure many of us have been there where you've had that terrible person in your life. Sorry, God, my mouth now. This terrible person in your life where I promise no more, or you can dock my pay. When you have those like bad people in your life who you've like been romantically involved with or whatever, but then you try to get away from them, but then like there's something there and it's hard to pull yourself out of that. And that's super relatable. I think it's a great song. It's one of the ones that stuck most immediately and clearly in my mind. It's just really, really good. And I think it's going to do great, deservedly. It's going to easily qualify for the final. It has real potential to trouble the top 5, top 3. I think winning may be a little bit of a stretch too far, but I think it's in with a chance, even if just a slim one. And quite frankly, I would quite like to go to an island in the Mediterranean next year, so I would not mind at all if this won and took Cyprus's first ever victory. But yeah, no, it's brilliant. I love it. I love it so much that I can't stop swearing when I talk about it. So,
wow. All right, then we better move on before we get more bleeping. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, children in chat, please cover your ears or take out your headphones.
Okay, Sean.
Oi, oi, oi. Where do I begin with this one? So the song first came out and it felt really underwhelming, to be honest with you. I think we were expecting hype, big banger, and it kind of delivered. It felt cheap. It just really felt, painting by numbers, kind of what Cyprus have been trying. They found the formula, and let's beat it to death. Let's just hope that it works every year. Just cheap Spanish lyrics, and it just Anyway, it's in my top 3 for the whole contest at the minute, so it's a hell of a grower.
I was like, oh, this is not going well.
Yeah. Oh, they had us in the first half. Not gonna lie. I mean, all of what I said is kind of true at the start. I just thought, oh, what is this? It's cheap, and then I listened to it for a second time, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah, it's really catchy. It's a proper bop. If you listen to it with good bassy headphones, my God, it is a proper banger. So I kind of same thing kind of happened to Fuego. I didn't really get it, and then it just clicked one day. But it just happened really quickly with this one. And I couldn't stop listening to it. And I like they're going to make good use of the pre-recorded vocals this year with the I love El Diablo, the sort of childish rhythm, whatever it is in the background, because obviously they wouldn't be able to do that any other year, but it really works. And it's really powerful.
Chuck is coming to get you.
Yeah. Despite going against my better nature, I really, really love this track. On an unrelated note, I don't know why, but I've got 50 bottles of shampoo in my house at the minute, and I don't know what to do with them because I don't need to wash my hair that often. Help me.
Can you see how gorgeous my nails are? Like, really?
Now we can.
Let me tell you, when you have this much hair, that Head and Shoulders, it comes in really handy. We're not sponsored by Head and Shoulders, but if they want to give us some money, they are more than welcome to.
Yeah,
Again, other shampoos are available.
I promised myself I'm not going to make any shampoo or Lady Gaga references, and clearly it's too late. I should have gone first. Because
Rita or a reference because that's only what's left.
Oh no, you see, I didn't know that person, so I couldn't really make that comparison. But seriously, I kind of say it's a bop. It's very mainstream, but it's catchy, it's fun, it's well executed, all of the above, right? It checks so many boxes. There's not a boring moment in the song. I like the verses. I like the pre-chorus. I like the chorus. It just flows well. It is Eurovision, and to be honest, chart friendly. This could work in the charts as well. And yes, is it the most innovative piece that has ever been written? No, but it is. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah, I mean, not everything has to be because how often can you sometimes just send good music, and this is what they do. And they send a good song, and yes, they stick to some cliches like throwing some random Spanish lyrics. Someone who lives in Southern California, I'm like, it's a little cliche, but it works, and it kind of makes it stand out as well, and it just very felt well done. I cannot wait to see this staging. I'm not sure if they're going to do something similar what they did with the video, but if this is executed well, this. I think it was Gabe who said it. I don't necessarily see it winning, although there is maybe an outside chance. Look at Netherlands, finishing third and second, and then boom, wins. I could see this one going really well. I think I just know they know what they're doing. And yes, I feel like Cyprus has found themselves in Eurovision right now. Countries often go for like this, don't know what's going on, and then they figure it out. So Cyprus is riding a wave right now. Hopefully it'll continue because this song is definitely good and a lot of fun. So, let's talk. This is the most important part, and those are our points. So, I will start with Stefan. What was your points for Cyprus?
I gave it 10.
So, okay. Just 10. Move on. That's it.
Yeah.
That's fine. And who was next? Gabe, what did you give it?
I love Head and Shoulders. I gave it an
8. Okay, Sean?
I gave it a 9, which might shock a lot of people who are watching this, knowing what my favourites have been over the years.
Yeah,
but
I'm perplexed.
Every now and then, I throw in a curveball. So there you go. That's this year's curveball.
I love Lady Gaga. 8 points. Sorry. No, seriously, I don't like always people calling copycats, because Lady Gaga was inspired by Madonna, right? There's a lot of Madonna you hear in that, but no one calls her out for like being a copycat. You just reinvent, you do stuff. So I like it very much. 8 points from me. So now let's take a look at the chat first and see what people are saying. 9, 10, 10, 7, 2, 5, 7, 10, 10, 10, 6, 6, 5, 6.5, 8. So there seems to be a lot of 10s, a lot of 7 to 10s, 8 to 10s, just a few low scores, but there is no song that always gets high scores. So I'm putting Stefan on the spot. What do you think Cyprus will get?
777.
7.77. Gabe.
Or 666.
Yeah, 668. No, I was going to be. I'm actually very similar to Stefan, but in a pure act of bad sportsmanship, I'm going to say 7.76. So if it's any lower, then I'm more right than he is.
Unless it's the price is right, then you lose because you're both
That's
over.
true.
But now the points for Cyprus are 7.31. And
I was closer. Take that, Stefan.
You are, but I will say I'm not happy with that score. I thought my 8 was already. I felt like maybe I should have given 8.5 or so. So 7.3. What did I say? 3.1 is not a bad score, right? But I thought that this has more of a universally yay factor to it. So I expect a little bit more. Let's take a look actually at the scoreboard while I'm at it. So Cyprus falling in 5th place right now, still good, but there's a lot of good songs ahead of it. Shum, what do you think? It's current rank.
Yeah, I feel like with Cyprus, I'm going to hazard a guess that at least Roy and James probably tank this, because I just feel like it's not their thing at all. I could be wrong, because obviously people would have thought I would have also tanked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can. It's the kind of score I thought it would get. I am surprised that Greece has beaten Cyprus, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
As good as Greece is as a song as well, I thought Cyprus would be sort of, probably in that list 4th. I mean, overall on the list, just looking at sort of France, I'm surprised by that score, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which may be a bit controversial, but it's I feel like I was probably one of the more negative ones on France.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't enough, clearly. Go ahead.
One of the more wrong ones on France, you mean? It's okay, Sean. You can you can be incorrect. We all are sometimes.
Yeah. Just so you know,
to each their own.
I mean, I'm looking at the scores, the individual scores right now. There's only one person who tanked Cyprus. There are a lot more 6 to 7.5ers than I thought. Like almost.
Can we name and shame?
No, I don't want to put any unless they want to share. But other than that, no one gave it less than 6. And so it is a good score. Just like it's not as many high scores as I thought there would be. So then it kind of just, ended out that way. So we got to move on. And guys, do you have enough time? I know I said it would be like a 90-minute thing. We still got a few songs to go. Are you good on time?
That's fine. Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay.
Plenty of time.
All right.
But Cyprus has now made me think about the fact I'm going to order Greek food for dinner. There's a great place that does like gyros, souvlaki, pita, you name it. They do it. It's like just down the road. I am going to be straight out there. Actually, no, I'm going to order it to here because I'm lazy. So I'm excited. Let's keep it going.
All right, let's keep it going.
I'm home alone tonight, so basically I can host. You can message me after the live video. So.
All right.
I'll be right
we shall
over.
do that. All right. So who is next on the list? I think it's Spain, right?
No.
No, Portugal. I'm so sorry.
Portugal.
You were close. Yeah.
All right. I totally did not put notes down for Portugal. Oh no, I did. Here we go. So let's start. So as I said, I did have the notes here to make sure who is going, and we do have a new name in Portugal as well. The Black Mamba, they won Festival da Canção. It's Love is on My Side, and they get to perform in Rotterdam. Obviously, an English song for Portugal, that's unheard of. First of all, complete now, not the best track record at the contest. Portugal debuted it in 1964 and couldn't even manage a top 5 result, and that all changed, as most of us know, in 2017 when Salvador Sobral has had one of the most impressive wins in the contest history. Now, let's see if the Black Mamba can make the country proud and get a good result. They are in the second semifinal and set to perform in 12th position. So, English for Portugal, definitely very interesting. Sean, your thoughts on Portugal?
I'm glad you've put me first because do you know what? I'm actually going to be positive about this song, and I bet a lot of people
What
didn't
makes you think
expect
we're
that
not?
either.
Yeah.
Well, I just have a hunch. I think what I'd say about this one is that Portugal are very good at authentic, and this also feels very authentic. It's got a really nice vibe. It's a very Sunday morning type song. I think if you get what I'm saying, very laid back. I don't know if that'll work for Eurovision. It may not. The vocals remind me a little bit of Macy Gray. Do you remember her? So I've stolen that from you, haven't I?
Yes, I'm so
Yeah,
I'm going right after you.
That really raspy sort of soulful vocal I really like, and I think it works well with the song. I'm going to say as well that it is a bit disappointing that Portugal have gone for English, but it makes complete sense with this song because if you had this song in Portuguese, it just would not have felt right. I don't think. I think it works quite well as that. I'm going to put my neck on the line a little bit with this. Looking at the semi-final and where Portugal is in the draw, and looking at the fact that I can't see an obvious 10 qualifiers in their semi-final, I have a feeling this could potentially sneak through. This could be a shock. And if it happens in Rotterdam, you can come back to this video and you can thank me later.
Thank you.
It's not, if it gets to the final, it's not going to do very well, to be honest with you. But I think there's a lot of people that would appreciate this in the silent majority, as I like to call it, not the Eurovision fan base, but the people who watch the contest. Admittedly, there's less of them in the semi-finals. But yeah, I think if this makes a moment on stage and people really connect to it, it could be a surprise. But yeah, it's very solid. Not a remarkable entry, but a very solid entry from Portugal this year.
Okay, yes, I was going to make the same. Like the voice reminds me of Macy Gray, and while it works for you, it doesn't work for me. It's not my kind of sound, and it comes down to personal taste. I was like, it's like you have something stuck in your throat, clear. You're like, but it's a style, the way they sing, and it works. It's a unique sound, but it sits at a spot in your throat that is just uncomfortable for me to listen to. Someone has like an echo right now. Can you guys hear my voice twice?
I heard some. Yeah, I think somebody pulled the headphones out by accident.
Okay, that's like it's so hard when you hear yourself like 2 seconds later, like
Who was that?
Who's that? Don't make fun of me. I like
those beautiful voices in my head.
So I like some of the instrumentation. Like Sean made a good point. It still feels like Portuguese, but in English kind of thing. I don't mind them going English every now and then. I don't think they're going to do that every year, and I find it more interesting when countries start to do something different. But I just don't think this song it doesn't speak to me at all. It is also, again, you got to go back to your personal bias because if they would have chosen another song, that would have been potentially my favorite of the year, and now it's like such a dramatic difference here for me there. So the song just kind of never grabs my attention. It doesn't really interest me. At the same time, I can at least acknowledge there's some really pretty instruments in there, and if that's Portugal wants, then I can understand that. I just don't connect with it emotionally in any shape or form. It just kind of goes past me. And it would probably be me, the infamous toilet break, which is always a very insulting thing to say. I get that. But it's just kind of more like I get distracted by dust, when that song comes on, because it's just not very interesting to me. So, but I don't hate it. It just doesn't work. I guess that is the point I was trying to make. So I'm just bummed out that I don't like it better. How about you, Gabe?
Um,
All right, Stefan. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't have much to add. I actually quite liked it the first time I listened to it, but just I got bored of it very quickly. I don't. Why would you break such a long tradition of singing in your native language for this?
So you're not a fan?
I'm sensing a 10.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's not bad. I just find it incredibly boring. Now I've heard it more than once.
Okay, well, that is fair.
And I think I don't have much more to say about it.
That's okay. You talk plenty. Would I say too much? Not here. Stefan, what do you think? Oh, great.
See, I told you this would happen. That's why I waxed about it lyrically.
Like, I think that people heard your cat in the back. Anyway, in between this and Bulgaria, I can see more Portugal qualifying rather than Bulgaria. Again, like it was said before, breaking the tradition of singing in their own native language for this. So, meh.
Meh. We're so articulate today here. It's amazing. Well, let's see if our scores are going to be as equally as meh, or if they're going to be a little bit more kind. Sean, bring up the score, will you?
Oh, so you were relying on me to give it a high score as well, were you?
Well, but according to your comments,
I've given it a very respectable 6. Okay, it's not one of my favorites. It's I can just appreciate the qualities that it has, and I can certainly see a world in which this sneaks in 9th, 10th place in the semi-final and hits the right moment, but. Meh. It's I do appreciate it, and I think they're a really likable band, and I think they stick authentically with what they do, and they do it well. So 6 from me.
Yeah, I have really no issue with the band. They seem perfectly likable, and they are very. I want to listen to some of their other music, maybe that works better for me. I just get so bored with the chorus being just over like "Love is on my side, love is on my side, love is on my side." Yeah, we get it. So to me, it's just a little. It's not horrible, but it's just bores me, and I cannot give it in good conscience anything more than like if 5 is average, like just I have to give it like a 4.5. I just cannot justify anything higher than that. So sorry, Gabe.
Yeah, like I said, they're perfectly nice. The song is not awful. It doesn't, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not written. It's not sung by. I don't know. I don't want to name names. That just call them Suku Avisti. But I give it a 4. I gave it a 4. I have very little to say about it because it doesn't really stick with me, and I haven't enjoyed it since the first time I listened to it.
Okay, Stefan.
Unfortunately,
every year I say to myself when we're doing this, don't be generous. Do what you really want to do. But no, I had to be generous again this year, so I gave it a 6.
Okay, great. Yeah. So hey, based on your comments, I thought it was going to be way lower than that. Now it's the moment of truth, though. Who wants to take a guess? What points will Portugal get from Team United? 5 points, Gabe says. Anyone agrees, disagrees?
4.98.
5.98 from Sean.
No, 4.98. So it will go just above North Macedonia, I think.
For me.
Okay, so we're between 4.98 and 5.01 here, according to the team.
So these two, they've pulled my own tactic against me.
Mm-hmm. And here is the result. You are all wrong. It is 4.84. So it is actually even lower than that, 4.84, putting Portugal, and I'm going to bring up the scoreboard in a little bit, currently in our last place. Gabe, penny for your thought right now.
Ouch. I mean, I did give it a 4, so it's kind of my fault.
Yeah.
But like, oh dear, I'm sorry, Portugal. I'm not going to feel bad. I stand by my opinion, and I should not be influenced by anything else. No, I'm not surprised it did badly overall, though. I think it's just that it's not that memorable. That is a killer. Is that it's just not that memorable, and it doesn't really grab you. And ultimately, if it doesn't do those things, then you're stuck.
That is true, and that's I think what's happening here. Let me take a look. Yeah, I think the high one person put it high, and that's it. There's one 9-pointer. Everything else is. But the interesting part
my God,
there's only one. Gabe, technically, you are the second lowest vote, but it's still but there are a bunch of 4s. 4 and 4.5 seems to be like the overwhelming 4.5 and 5. Those are like almost all the votes. So
no one hates it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except one person.
I think what I'd say about that score is that it's like what you've just said. No one hates it, so it does feel kind of for it to be last. It's very kind of harsh, I think, but it's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
All right.
So.
Okay, I think Stefan, we just lost him. All right, let's give it a moment. I'm sure he'll be back. That gives me probably some time to introduce the next song, since we got 3 more to go. Are you ready? This one is Spain. And Blas Cantó. He was chosen last year to represent Spain with Universo. Universo, I shouldn't say like the American way. And after the contest cancellation, the broadcaster immediately announced that he would get a shot in 2021, and he accepted. They put together a mini national final with 2 songs to choose from. Quedarme was Spain's choice, so that's what we get to talk about today. Spain debuted at the contest in 1961, and while they had 2 wins so far, the last one dates back to 1969. Only 52 years, only. No biggie. Spain doesn't have to worry about qualification. They are a Big 5 member, so the finals by default, and yep. We find out sooner or later what running order they have in the finals. Welcome back, Stefan. We missed you. And let's go through this. Gabe, what do you think of Spain?
So first, a word on Blas. Absolutely one of the nicest, loveliest contestants this year. There's a video which I'd really recommend you watching of. It was a sort of. I'm not a massive fan of these like what would you do style shows normally. But basically, at this this sort of, sorry for the background noise, for this sort of fake scenario where there was like a boy being really aggressive, like and abusive to his girlfriend in front of Blas. Then the boyfriend gets up and walks away. Blas goes straight over and is like opens his heart to this girl and is like, "We're getting you out of here. You do not have to see him again. You're gonna." And it is just like, what a lovely guy. Anyway. That's besides the point. I really liked Universo last year. I believe I gave it a 7.5 or an 8, something in that ballpark. Don't like this one quite as much. I still enjoy the song, but it has the kind of the same problem that Romania has. It doesn't sort of pop out for me. That said, I enjoy it. Not as much as Hugo in chat, who's been asking us to get onto it for about 20 minutes. But I really enjoy it. I hope he does well because he really deserves it because he's a great guy.
Okay. Sean.
Just to add on to about Blas himself, obviously I did a little bit of I've been doing profiles on the artist this year, and Blas's 2020 was awful, absolutely awful. I mean, it sort of ties in with this entry because obviously he lost his father and his grandmother, I believe, to the disease which shall not be named in YouTube videos. So yeah, I think a lot of his personal experiences and his feelings have sort of poured into this entry. So I can really appreciate where he's coming from with it. Having said that, I am about to shit all over it, unfortunately. Which sounds it's really harsh, but it's. I mean, it's not really a standout in this year's field, and I think the fact that obviously Spain are always in the final, but with that comes the fact that Spain has to compete against, rather than 15, 16 other songs, 26 other songs. And I just think, is this really going to have the impact in a 26 song final, especially if it's, say, if an early draw? Musically, it's not really very interesting, other than the sort of metallic, sort of drum rolly type sound before the second verse. Vocally, I'm not convinced from performances I've seen, but I'm sure he'll raise his game for Rotterdam, as everyone tends to. Yeah, it's kind of how nice to listen to, but there's not really too much substance for me there, unfortunately. Universo felt like a lot more polished and a lot more Eurovision ready than this did. So.
Yeah, no, I thought it was going to be worse when you said you're going to shit over it. But I kind of, I'm probably like a little better than you. But first of all, he's a very good singer, and I want to acknowledge that as well. His music isn't quite for me. His genre, his style, it's a bit vanilla. I don't think it's horrible at all. The chorus is actually quite pretty, and the melody is nice. When I listen to it, it's like nice, but it's not like I'm gonna go and hit replay. Yeah, no, I'm gonna do that. But it just felt I felt similar about Universo last year, so it's just meh, I'm not gonna go back there, but it's fine. But it's just not enough, and it's more to me is people always banking on like his high notes at some point, he's gonna really wow the Jews and tell it. But if you bank on just that one note, then it becomes more of a gimmick than actually part of the song, so that's not enough. It's a shame because I think he's actually has the talent. I just wish he could go with something a little bit more daring, I guess. And it feels almost more like a song that's on the like it's almost like in the credits of the movie, not the standout piece in a competition. That being said, I don't dislike it. I think it's a pleasant song, but nice. Don't cut it at Eurovision. As in a competition in particular, that's what I mean by that. So that's what I mean. And Stefan, what are your thoughts?
Meh, we're not doing that anymore.
Now we're trying to be a little bit more articulate.
Actually, I preferred his last year's song more than this one, but like you said, he's gonna be like in between 25, 26 other songs, so it will be hard for him to stand out, especially with this kind of song. We've seen like Spanish fans overhyping their own songs, so I think it's happening again this year. Yeah, like let's roll our eyes. But again, I'm gonna use like your term now. I pleaded the fifth.
Deplete the fifth. That is a good one. You're good to go. All right. Well, you cannot plead the fifth when it comes to your points, so we'll go for them one by one. And Gabe, what did you give Spain?
So I gave it a 6, dead in line with what I gave to Roxen and Romania, for the same reasons. Also, I just want to shout out to the guy who has been in chat saying, "Where is Spain? Do Spain," for 20 minutes. It gets to Spain, he puts in chat, I give it a 7. 20 minutes, he was dying to give it a
7. Sorry. Did you give your score? You give, Sean?
Yeah, 6. Sorry, 6.
Yeah, 6. No, yeah, I've been distracted by your joke. Enjoy it. You make me laugh. It doesn't happen often. Sean, what's your score?
I gave Spain a 3.5,
this is
which is probably the harshest of any song tonight. Which is just if a song, if it doesn't hit me or it doesn't work with me, I'm not gonna give it like a 4.5, 5.5. If I just
sorry, I'm laughing at something else.
I'm sorry.
I'm still laughing at Gabe.
Yeah.
Sorry, I this is really
Always with Spain. Every year, Spain.
particularly.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it, last year as well?
So last year we did,
Yeah.
just to give you context, we did actually recorded the thing rather than having a live stream. And those two fools, Sean and Gabe, they just started laughing. So we had to, how many? 5 takes to do Spain?
It was at least 7.
Was it really that
At
many?
least 7. I wish you still had the video because it would make a superb.
It was just the intro.
Like,
It's like you got, when you have like you get the giggles and you just like it's almost like church giggles, but they just gotten worse and worse. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. I am giving it 5.5. It's a little bit over. It's if it's just like an okay song that I give it 5, but it's a little bit better than that. So 5.5 from me, Stefan.
I played the 5th. I subtract 1, and I gave it 4.
4. So just to summarize, if it's up to us, 5.5, 4, 6, 3.5. That's not looking too good, but we're only 4 people, and there are plenty of others. So who wants to give a guess? What score did Spain get?
5.
5 again. You're sticking to 5. It's like Portugal. Anybody else wants to give a guess?
4.11.
4.99.
4.99. Okay. So
Man, no respect.
I'm using your tactic against you. Against you.
Well,
Honestly.
here we go. Spain's score with Team United is 5.25. So
Take that, Sean.
Oh.
Yeah, Gabe won. Is that more? I mean, it's not like breaking like record books, but I guess from what we're hearing, looking at our scores, this is a little better, huh? No, actually, I got 5.5, so I guess it makes sense. I just think that let me take a look at the team scores here individually real quick. Yeah, we're kind of like just reflect what the team has. I think the highest one we have is a 7, and when you get those kind of scores, you just can't really expect a higher score, I guess. Any other thoughts? One at a time, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is Spain. I guess that's silencio. Let's move on to the next song and see if that is going to change, because we're talking Bulgaria. So Victoria was the betting odd favorite of the day, the 2020 cancellation, the 2020 Eurovision cancellation. Tears Getting Sober, definitely immensely popular. So Victoria was obviously quite depressed when the contest didn't take place, but at least the broadcaster made sure that she would get her rightful shot. 6 songs were presented to the public, and the people were able to provide insight and their thoughts into the Bulgarian team. And in the end, Growing Up is Getting Old was chosen as the entry. Bulgaria has become a big player, actually, as of late. Their best result so far, 2017, a silver medal, and the country will perform this time around in the second semifinal in position 13. Okay, can Bulgaria follow its last year's hype? Let's talk this through. Sean, what do you think of Victoria's song?
So obviously we're trying not to compare too much between the artists that were here last year and have returned. But last year was a brilliant song, masterpiece. I think I called it at the time as well. I think I gave it a 10. I don't think this quite hits the same heights, but it is a very good song all the same, and it is very well done. I think Imaginary Friend was the obvious choice this year. I mean, personally speaking, but I know a lot of people felt the same. So I'm surprised that they went with this one, but I can understand it because I feel like this could be a real moment on stage. And Bulgaria, last couple of years, have really worked well on, the whole overall package and the staging, and I think that could really work to their effects this year. 2018 excluded from that, of course. I think lyrically, it's one of the more interesting songs of the year. And I think the vibe that it creates from the music video and the whole story, it is quite nice. And I think it'll resonate quite a lot with people, especially with, the events of the last however many months, years. So yeah, it's not quite sort of upper top tier for me, but it is a really well produced song. Really high quality, and I think this could, be a bit of a sleeper hit after Eurovision. Even I think it could be, something that people really appreciate maybe after the contest.
I see.
But yeah, another solid entry from Bulgaria this year.
Okay, Stefan, what do you think?
Well, personally, I was thinking that like these 5 songs that were presented like later, comparing to the Ugly Cry, were just to promote as her like new album was coming out. So actually, I was thinking that Ugly Cry would be like the next Bulgarian representative song, and that was the only song I actually liked out of the 6 we had. Meh. No, like to get serious. I don't get this hype and like comparison with Billie Eilish, because all of those 5 songs are a snooze fest. Actually, like the last year's song, it had some vibe. It had something special. All of these 5 songs, and I'm really sorry to say it again, are really, really boring snooze fest. I'm really being concerned now because of the songs that are in between Bulgaria in the semifinal. And like I said, like about Portugal, between them and like between Portugal and Bulgaria, I see Portugal qualifying and Bulgaria staying in the semifinal.
Okay, Gabe?
I'm not sure about that one, Chief. I have to say.
That's a shocker. I'm sorry.
Firstly, I have to say, somebody in chat said stop comparing Growing Up as Getting Old to the other songs in the selection. It's done. What I have to say is, I really completely think you're wrong because I'm about to do it myself. Ugly Cry was better and should have been the entry. I thought Ugly Cry was by far the most unique. However,
I liked Ugly Cry the most. It was the best song out of the 6 one. Out of the 6.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree, and I think it's a shame. But at the same time, it's a shame that isn't a Eurovision entry. I'm still going to listen to that regularly. I think Victoria's a great artist with a big future ahead of her. She is, she's got a great voice, talent. She clearly can sing like live, because we've seen from the few live performances she has done. I think she'll do great. I enjoyed the song. It's a ballad that stands out to me slightly more than the others we've talked about today. I enjoy it a lot. And I think really what you can expect to see, I think it's a certain finalist. So I very much disagree with Stefan on this point. I think it's a certain finalist. I think she will probably end up in and amongst the top 15. That could be 5th. That could be 15th. I really don't know where it's going to end up, but it's a good song, which she'll perform strongly, and she will connect with viewers. She has a good stage aesthetic and presence, which I think will really work. I can't wait to see it. So for me, I'm really happy with it.
Okay, yes, and I understand, you don't want to just compare songs, but it is okay when we talk about it, as long as that's not what you use to rank a song. Like, just the fact that we talk about last year's entry doesn't mean, that I'm taking that into consideration, because that wouldn't be fair. Because to me, I'm going to make a public service announcement right now. In hindsight, I will say Tears Getting Sober was my favorite of 2020. And it was it is... everything was perfect for me for that song. One of those songs that I just couldn't get enough of. And and it would be virtually impossible. So I cannot look at that and say, okay, where does it land compared to, because it wouldn't be a fair thing. But I will also say that Growing Up is Getting Old is lyrically one of the best pieces this year. There's so much interesting stuff going on. I thought it was just really well done. I appreciate the effort that was put into it. And what I said about like Romania earlier, that, I struggle with I don't find this song as depressing, only because it's just melodically, and the approach of the song makes me feel a little bit less about it. So I just find it just a very, very appealing. And I think that Victoria is once again sending a beautiful piece. And I think, as you, Gabe, mentioned, there could be a moment on stage as well, if the staging is right. And lots of upbeat music this year. And here we go. Here comes Bulgaria. I can breathe. There is this real like this quiet moment that has this beautiful build at the end, and that's my favorite part of the song anyway. I love the progression when the last minute of the song just and I almost wish we had more of that for the entire song. But I just really like Victoria as an artist. Definitely will be rooting for Bulgaria again this year. I think the song is fantastic, and just on its own merits, I just think it's great. And it is maybe not as an immediate like song as like Tears Getting Sober, because I think Growing Up is Getting Old has a lot more like potential of dropping or like crashing and burning and going up with the right stage, and while Tears Getting Sober was just clearly a good song no matter what. So I love the song, and I want Bulgaria to do really, really well. So those are comments, and here are our points. Sean, what did you give Bulgaria?
Very good, very solid 8 from me. Not quite the heights of last year, but yeah, the quality's there, and it's there for me to see. So 8 points from me.
8 points. Stefan.
It's the same like with Portugal and Iceland. It's like in between, somewhere like in the midst. So I gave it a 6.
Oh, okay. Can take a breather. That's pretty good. Gabe.
So not quite as strong and solid as Sean's, but I will still call my score firm and fulsome, 7.5.
All right. Well, I'm loving that I'm the cheerleader on this team, because I'm giving Bulgaria 9 points. And it was actually a last minute change for me, because I had it 9.5. I don't know why I put it down to 9. Maybe I was just cranky all of a sudden. Now I'm regretting it. But yeah, still 9 points from me. I think Bulgaria deserves a lot of credit here. I think it's fantastic. So let's see what the chat is saying. There's a lot of 10s, a lot of 9s, 8, 2, 10, 6.5, 10, 10, 3, 10, 4, 5, 8, 9.5, 9.5, 6.5. So as you can see, more high score, good amount of high scores. Let's see if Team United shares that sentiment. So Bulgaria's score is, I want to do that. It's the guessing game. Who wants to guess? 7.4 from Gabe. Who else?
Very, very low 8s. I think it's going to be up there.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, it is 7.88. So in between what you guys
I wasn't
were
far
saying.
off. I wasn't far off.
7.88. That is a really good score. Keep in mind, cracking the 8, it is very, very hard. We usually, how many songs did I last year? Like 5, 4? I don't know.
It wasn't many, but it was an unusually high scoring year.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
That is true. It was. Yeah, that is true. So it is very, very difficult. So I think 7.88, if you are a supporter of the song, you should feel good about that score. Am I right? Or anyone else has a different opinion?
Well, given that I put 7.5 and Sean put 8, it shows that we have superb taste and that we are correct.
Oh, gosh. Okay, I want to say something almost inappropriate, but I just caught myself. So, because I don't want YouTube to censor me. But okay, we'll leave it at that. So 7.88 for Bulgaria. So we've got one left. Are you ready for the final one? It is Moldova. Natalia Gordienko. I know I said it in Spanish. It's a Eurovision alumni taking part in 2006 Eurovision and was set to represent the country last year with Prison after winning the national final. The contest was canceled. Have you noticed? But just like many other broadcasters did, they invited her back this year. The title of the song is Sugar. Where does it fall in our ranking? We'll find out soon enough. Now, Moldova entered the Eurovision Fun in 2005 with a third place, best result in 2017. Hey Mama. Now they get to perform in semi-final 2 in the 7th position. And let's see who has it high up in the ranking, if at all. Who we got? Gabe. You have. Floor's yours.
It is time to make everyone lose all respect they have for me because I love this song so much. I am shamelessly stanning Kirkorov's Evil Empire for this year and this year only, because this is amazing. It's so catchy. I can't stop listening to it. It is ridiculous. It is so silly. And I love it. It is one of my favorites. I cannot wait to see it live. I'm slightly worried by the fact that she keeps lip syncing on all of the like pre-show performances, but it is ridiculous in every brilliant Eurovision way. And I'm sorry, the cake thing in the video where she rips the guy's face off and it's a cake is one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen in a Eurovision video. It's just so bizarre. I love it. Just brilliant. Just great. Incredible.
Wow. That is super interesting. You never know how things go here, huh? Stefan.
Do you know that like meme with, how do you call her, like kombucha girl, that like blonde girl? It's like,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I know the one. Yeah.
so I've learned a lot in 2018, like when we had like Moldova, when nobody was like even taking in consideration their song. Then they came and they showed that performance. This year we have a completely effing bop that I'm loving from the first moment I've heard it. So, I mean, I don't want to use any words because if I say more things, I'm gonna spoil like my
Score
mark that I gave it. So,
Okay.
but like people already know because I said it like in the beginning what kind of songs I really like.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Well, the big heart that you gave Gabe kind of already gave an indicator. So we'll see, though. Sean, what do you think?
Right. I was kind of wanting to go first, but no one stole my thunder on this, so I'm glad. A word, if I may, for the utterly ridiculous 2-3 hour marathon reveal show that Kirkorov did for this entry.
Yeah.
It was just the most unbelievable viewing experience I've ever had on like a Thursday night or whatever it was. So I was almost tempted to give this a higher score just because of that, because of the absolute fever dream that Kirkorov had served up for us, where, by the way, here's the entry at the end, the last 5 minutes. Wow. Anyway, the song itself, I think they're trying to go for maybe the Katy Perry Teenage Dream or California Girls, whatever vibe with the entry. I think it's, it seems quite obvious from the video. It's another one of the songs that I thought at first it was just cheap and nasty and just Eurovision fodder, but it has grown on me as well. I will admit that. I'm not ashamed to admit that, sometimes cheap and dirty is just all you're after, really. Not everything's got to be a fillet steak. Sometimes you can just have a greasy cheeseburger, So my concern with this, so yes, they're going to throw everything at the staging. That, we know that to be true. It's Moldova and it's Kirkorov. The whole budget's going on the staging. My concern is Natalia, and not really her. I just don't feel like, and Gabe touched on it earlier with all the playback performances, I'm not convinced that she's going to be able to deliver this live in Rotterdam and really give it an effective performance. And that's my concern, is that I feel like because of that, this may even not qualify, which may be a bit of a sort of shock sort of prediction. But I can see it happening, and I hope I'm wrong, because it is a really solid entry and a really good song, and I do enjoy listening to it, and it's got repeat potential. But that's just my gut feeling, is that this is going to have all the sort of hype, and then there's actually no substance in Rotterdam.
Sidebar.
What?
I think that they are doing all the performances in the pre-shows with like lip syncing because they want to like keep it like it's a surprise, especially like that long now it's at the end that she is able to sing and she will like rock it on the stage. And like we said, the whole budget, everything is going in the stage performance.
It is also quite common on like Russian, I've noticed this in Russian Ukrainian TV, it is incredibly common for people to lip sync. It happens a lot. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. May I talk now?
No.
No. So I hear what you're saying. I like how Stefan is a little bit glass half full, Sean a little empty. But I like what Sean said. He didn't see my thunder, but I kind of echoed that. I was thinking also California Girls, that kind of cheesiness, but it has a little bit more of an Eastern European, like this sound I would not expect to come from like a Western European country. It has this distinct sound, the Kirkorov probably piece of it, that makes it more like the Eastern European version of like something like that you mentioned. So I saw that as well. Sugar to me is unapologetically loud and in your face, and it is not pretending to be something that it's not. They're not trying to be like, look, we're a mainstream, but like they just know what they're doing, and for that alone I have an appreciation for it. And it's fun, all right? I mean, just the video alone was fun. There are a few things that I would have fixed in the song, which probably will be the reason why I'm downgrading a little in my ranking. For instance, the instrumental pieces to me, that's me, right, are too long. It's like dum alone tonight, and then like forever the instrumental part, then she sings "Come Over," and then again instrumental part for like 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, it's clear to me that the song was written with the staging in mind already. I know that there's going to be some craziness going on Rotterdam, but in the studio version, it just feels too much. I wish the chorus would be a little bit more prominent than the instrumental part. And that, I think, is one of the things that keeps distracting me a lot. That being said, I wish that, wouldn't it be cool if I could kind of have some kind of effect where I could rip off someone's jaw on stage? Oh, gosh, how cool. And then have a cake? That would be so cool. I don't think
So violent.
I know, right? It would be a little maybe traumatizing for some children. Maybe not the best idea. No, then I'm saying it out loud. But the point is the staging will be fun. It's a little rough on the edges, but it's a banger. That's basically what I'm saying. It's kind of like, it's just fun, and sometimes it's okay. Just have fun. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. That's my opinion. And now it's time for our scores. I think we have some kind of an idea where they may land. When it comes to our team, Gabe, what did you give Moldova?
I gave Moldova a perfect and deserved 10. It is my kind of trash. I love it. I adore it. And whatever Sean says is wrong. I can see him with his head in his hands. He's wrong.
Whatever it is, it's wrong. But first, exactly. Stefan, what did you give it?
I give it a 1.
1? No, you didn't.
Plus Stop 9. Lying. 1 plus 9, 10. It's
1 plus 9. 10.
On,
2 tens.
It's a 10, like,
correct.
Do we need to speak like...
how do I work with these people?
Close the further discussions. We don't need any more live sessions. This is a winner.
Over. Baby. Okay. Next 2 sessions canceled.
I'm still being a sore loser because of the 2016, and I'm not gonna open that load of S ... So Sean, continue.
I'm so wanted to know now, but maybe I'm not opening it. So Sean, I'm sorry, yeah, Sean, go ahead, be the bad cop now.
So I mean, I would agree with those scores if this was 3 minutes of Kirkorov just massaging his ego about how great he is in front of a starry background. If that was the entry, I would completely agree with you. Unfortunately, it's not. It's a solid song. As we stand on the 17th of April, 2021, it's a 7 from me, which isn't too bad a score, really. No. I have a feeling that after whenever it is, the 22nd of May, let's say, that score might be considerably lower once we've seen the live performance, because I just do have that feeling that it's not going to translate well on stage. It could either be the greatest show on earth or an absolute train wreck.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with Sean on that one. Therefore, my score is 7 as well. I could add a lot of witty and fun comments, but he said exactly what I was going to say. So 7 points from me as well. We got 2 10s and 2 7s on this team. This between the 4 of us, but of course there is a whole team of ESC United folks, probably like 20 or so. I don't even know how many we have on there. I have to check. But what did we give them? Sean, Gabe and Stefan. I'm looking at you right now. What do you think?
I can think of at least 2 people who will have bombed this. At least 2. So I think it's going to come out at about 6.
Please tell me, Gabe. Please tell me, Gabe and Stefan are the only ones that gave this 10, though. Like, surely.
We'll take after. Stefan, what do you think? You think set down Gabe's line?
I'm gonna say 7.65.
Wow. So Gabe thinks 6. Stefan thinks 7.65.
I think
Okay.
it's more towards Gabe. More towards what
Okay.
Gabe said.
All right, let's find out. ESC United score is... Ooh. Are you impressed with my reflexes or what?
It was very good.
Yes. So anyway, the points are 6.53. So, boo. Gabe is probably more like almost like relieved it's not as bad as he thought it was.
I thought it was gonna be a bloodbath because I thought that half the team would hate it.
How many 9s and 10s?
2 10s. I wonder who they were.
I love that comment there. Gabe knows what a silly thing he did by giving a 10.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I and Das GR, I'll have you know that my opinions are objectively correct and no one can argue with them ever.
It's science. It's science. No, the next high score is 8, so it's 10 and then 8 and below. That's basically what the votes are on the team. So you know what that means? We got to look at the score so far. We got 20 songs. Let's do this. So we have still the same leader, France, with 8.31. Lithuania, 7.91. Let's see the songs we talked about. Bulgaria is technically the winner out of this group with 7.88, now in third place. Who else did we discuss? Finland, 7.47. And yeah, Portugal now currently last place with 4.84. Sean, what are your thoughts?
I think France will probably end up finishing third.
Which one?
Is my gut feeling, because France. I feel like France won't hold on to the lead, to be honest with you. Is my gut feeling. I think that there's 2 songs that sort of seem to be standing out in all the polls this year that I think, or maybe even 3. But yeah, I think overall it's quite a fair representation, I guess. Yeah, I think Spain may be slightly low.
Keep in mind, I did not do I didn't do like a deliberate, like strategic way I assigned countries so that like the probably not going to be at last. It's really just mostly random. I don't want to be manipulative like that. It's more fun that way. Back up here. Okay, so Gabe, any other thoughts?
So I see there's a slight typo. Obviously, Moldova should have 16.53, but that's fine. Honestly, this is mostly, you can see that actually our ranking appears to be mostly tracking with what the community at large is saying. I think because we have quite a diverse set of opinions on our team. There's a few which I'm slightly surprised about. Finland, I'm a little surprised about, but I understand how it got there. Ukraine, also a little surprised by, but I feel like mostly we do not have terrible taste.
Yeah,
mostly.
It's very interesting because last year our ranking was a little less predictable, I thought, because there were a lot of songs that were not as popular with the fans that were higher up in ours and vice versa. So far, at least, our top 20, I seem to be more in line with what you see in YouTube rankings and our rankings overall. So that's my observation. How about you, Stefan? Let me bring it up one more time. What do you think, Stefan?
The biggest surprise for me is like France being so high up. I'm not sure what did I give it to France. I will have to check. If you give me just 1 second, please.
I have it right here as well.
Can you read it for me?
6. You gave it the 6.
Yeah. Again, meh.
What did I give France, out of curiosity?
What?
Sean, you gave it 6 as well.
Okay. I thought it was
same question. I think I gave it like a 9, but I'm not sure.
Let me see, Gabe. You put in your no. What did you say?
9.
Yes, that's correct. You gave it a 9.
There had to be a couple of 10s there because otherwise it wouldn't be so high up. Again,
yes.
I don't dislike the song. It's just like a type of song that like I normally wouldn't listen to. It's like for me okay to listen to it while it's playing, but when it's done, meh.
More than half of the team gave France a 9 or up. So that
Wow.
is, but then there were a
The
few
people
boo-boos
I
in there.
work with to quote a very talented person.
So now I want to see if anyone in the chat has any comments about the current ranking at ESC United, if you don't mind. Did you guys see anything that stood out to you in terms of what people are saying?
Two people back to back saying Cyprus is so good, and then Cyprus is evil.
You can't win, right? It's the beauty of the Eurovision.
No.
I love it. Yeah, I according to I am not too surprised by the things that I saw here. Or at least I should say that I am. One more time because it's so much fun. I think my favorites are actually at the top, which is rare. So, but of course we only are halfway through, so that is still up for debate. But I'm very pleased so far for the most part. I think Denmark will surprise people because it's currently in 15th place. Could be worse, but it's certainly not a prediction poll. Remember that, y'all. It is really just team rankings. Prediction will be a little different. We're going to do that as well, but we want to wait a little bit before we go down that path. I'm not surprised France is on top, but it's higher than I was expecting. So I guess 8.31 is a little bit too high for some maybe, but yeah, anytime you break the 8, it's like, what? And but 8.31, that is really high. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, last year's winner was actually Lithuania on fire. So they're clearly not going to win this year because they're in second place, which is still good. Where do you guys think it's going to drop more?
Yeah, there's some songs like Switzerland will come out on top. San Marino will probably come out on top, I think.
I think Malta as well could have a good attempt at it. Yeah.
So that's what you agree with that, Stefan? Like they're talking Malta, Switzerland, and what did you say? San Marino.
Well,
San Marino.
For Switzerland, maybe, but again, like, meh. I don't like that song. I don't like the way he sings it. Regarding Malta, I think it's the overhyped song of the season. And I'm not going to talk about the number of YouTube views of that particular song. And yeah, like San Marino is definitely going up high, and I'm praying like to God, to Allah, to Buddha, to like every single god there is, like to the Greek gods, the Roman gods, to the Slavic gods, that Florida will be there, like in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Someone else asking when. What does it say? What day will you do Italy? I need to schedule my screaming session. The question is going to be a good or bad session. Italy. Let me take a look here. Will be in next session. The next session, which will be next Friday. So on Friday next week, we'll discuss Italy, and we're not going to go into details now because we don't want to spoil it. But we'll find out where that one's going to end up. Any other final thoughts from y'all, Sean, Stefan, Gabe, about this that I haven't mentioned?
What is in overall?
Yeah, overall, any final thoughts just in general that you wanted
just
to
because,
share?
well, I don't know, because I don't really want to spoil my thoughts about any other entries just in case. But I think one thing I did notice is that there seems to be a lot that are a 7 or above already. So I think that shows that that maybe there's not as many 8s potentially. But I think overall it's a very solid year, and obviously it's a strong field. I think a lot of people probably feel that as well. So yeah, it's going to be some good shows.
That is very interesting that you mentioned that, Sean, because it seems every year we get this whole, this is the worst year ever, this is the best year ever, right? So we get that, but it seems this year, it seems to be so like blown up in particular. Maybe so many people compare just what a song from last year and look at their acts this year, because it's different than any, because we have so many returning artists.
It's exceptional circumstances this year, so I can totally get the comparisons.
Yeah, and it's just human nature, I get, to a certain extent, especially the unique circumstances that we're in. So I think that's why we have this whole like, oh, everything sucks, everything is awesome, which yes, happens every year, but especially this time around, it seems very, very dramatic. So if no one has any other thoughts, last chance.
I was just gonna say, like I'm really looking forward to, even though if we can't all be there in 37, I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody next year in either Switzerland or Malta or Cyprus.
Okay.
Or San Marino.
Or Valentina Manetta's
Yeah,
backyard.
Valentina's backyard.
Or Germany. So anyway, this is the live stream for the day.
Like Matt said, I really think if San Marino somehow wins, like it will be in Germany. So yeah.
I think it'll be in Italy. But it's
Why
funny
would it be
because
now?
I made a silly comment. I think it was in the ranking video where I was like, because San Marino is currently, spoiler alert, second in ESC United readers ranking, right?
From last week.
And I just made a comment. Maybe that's a good, maybe that's where San Marino want to be. Then have to worry about hosting. And people took offense to that. Like, they would love to host it. Why would you say such a thing? That is it. I'm like, oh my God, it was a joke. I'm like, that I think that is not what it is. So I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, so those are our rankings. Thanks again, Gabe. Thank you, Stefan and Sean. Yeah, whatever. No, of course. Thank you that you were here as well. It was fun. I thought you were a great team, and we will be back next Friday, but there will be other stuff happening because Sean got to go back to work because there is a new ranking coming up soon, right?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. So he's going
to the first sort of sneak peek I saw of it is it could be quite an interesting one as well. So stay tuned for that.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thanks, everyone, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.